new On the Record, and I'm your host, Dennis Morrison, but most of you probably already know that. Looking clean shaven and with my haircut, and looking, well, not dapper, just looking like an old man, and feeling like one too. I got a special record for you today that I want to share, and this was done, I believe, in 1947, and it's Robert Browning's The Pied Piper of Hamlin, and it featured Gene Kelly as the narrator. Of course, Gene Kelly was well known for working with MGM, musicals and dancing and such things. He was a very popular actor back in the day. Very nice cover again, and nicely done on the inside also. Now, in this particular version, the original music was composed and conducted by Lehman Engel, and as I said, narrated by Gene Kelly and illustrated by Jon Balet. So let me read you just a brief caption here about our brief outline of the story, and then we'll go and listen to The Pied Piper of Hamlin. The wonderful tale of the Pied Piper of Hamlintown, which Robert Browning has set down in verse, has remained for years one of the best known of all children's stories. The Piper was a wondrous magician indeed, and the lessons which he taught to the mayor and councilman of Hamlin is not easily forgotten. Promised 1,000 guilders to rid the town of rats, the piper played so enchantingly on his flute, or his fife, that every rat in the village followed him to the river Weser, where they all plunged in and drowned, except for one fat one which escaped. But when the piper tried to collect his fee, the council refused the payment. Everyone knows how the piper then struck up such a merry tune that all of the children, except one lame little boy, followed him into a magic mountain and were never ever seen again. Hamlintown had learned a very bitter lesson. Having said that, this is a 2-record set, 78 RPM, 4 sides, so it'll be a little bit longer than what I've showed you before, but I'll be back shortly after we take a listen.
Hamlin Townshend, Brunswick, by famous Hanover City. The river Weser, deep and wide, washes its wall on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you never spy. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see townsfolk suffer so from vermin was a pity. Rats! They fought the dogs and killed the cats and bit the babies in the cradles and ate the cheeses out of the vats and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests inside men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. At last the people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor's a noddy. And as for our corporation, shocking to think we buy downs lined with ermine for dolts that can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking to find the remedy we're lacking, or, sure as fate, we'll send you packing." At this, the mayor and corporation faced with a mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length, the mayor broke silence. "It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my poor head aches again. I've scratched it so and all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap." Just as he said this, what should hap at the chamber door but a gentle rap? "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that? Only scraping his shoes on the mat? Anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pit-a-pat." "Come in," the mayor cried, looking bigger. And in did come the strangest figure. His queer long coat from heel to head was half of yellow and half of red. And he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes, each like a pin, and light loose hair, yet swarthy skin, no tuft on cheek or beard on chin, but lips where smiles went out thin. There was no guessing his temper, and nobody could enough admire the tall man in his quaint attire. He advanced to the council table. please your honors, said he, I'm able, by means of a secret charm, to draw all creatures living beneath the sun, that creep or swim or fly or run after me, so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm. The mole and toad and newt and viper, and people call me the Pied Piper. And here they noticed round his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe to match with his coat, the self-same check. And at the scarf's end hung a pipe. And his fingers, they noticed, were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vesture, so old and mangled. Yet, said he, poor piper as I am, in Tartary I freed the cham last June from the huge swarms of gnats. I eased in Asia the nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I can rid you a town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders? 50,000 was the exclamation of the astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Then, like a musical adept, to blow the pipe his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled like a candle flame, or salt is sprinkled. And their 3 shrill notes the pipe uttered, you heard as if an army muttered, and the muttering grew to a grumbling, and the grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses the rats came tumbling. Great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, brave old plotters, gay young twisters, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the piper for their lives. Through street to street he piped advancing, and step by step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, wherein all plunged and perished, save one, who, stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and lived to carry to Ratland home his commentary, which was,
at the first shrill notes of the pipe I heard a sound as of scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe into a cider press's gripe, and it seemed as if a voice called out, oh, rats rejoice! And just as a bulky sugar punch had already stayed, like a great sun-shone, glorious, fearsome inch before me, just as the Balet said, come bore me, I found the Weser rolling o'er me.
you should have heard the Hamlin people ringing the bells till they rocked the steeple. Go, cried the mayor, and get long poles. Poke out the nests and block up the holes. Consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats. When suddenly, up the face of the piper perched in the marketplace with a burst, if you please, my 1,000 guilders. 1,000 guilders! The mayor looked blue. So did the corporation, too. To pay this sum to a wandering fellow with a gypsy coat of red and yellow? Besides, quoth the mayor with a knowing wink, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with our eyes the vermin sink, and what's dead can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not the folks to shrink from the duty of giving you something for drink, and a matter of money to put in your poke, but as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you very well know, was in joke. Besides, our losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders. Come, take 50. The piper's face fell, and he cried, no trifling, I can't wait. Beside, I've promised to visit by dinner time Baghdad, and accept the prime of the head cook's pottage. All he is rich in, for having left in the caliph's kitchen of a nest of scorpions, no survivor. With him I prove no bargain driver. With you, don't think I'll bait a stiver. And folks who put me in a passion may find me piped to another fashion. Oh, cried the mayor. Do you think that I'll brook being worse treated than a crook? Insulted by a lazy ribald with idle pipe and vesture piebald? You threaten us, fellow? Do your worst. Blow your pipe there till you burst. Once more he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe of smooth, straight cane. And ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet, soft notes as yet musicians' cunning never gave the enraptured air, there was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of merry crowds jostling at pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping and little tongues chattering. And like boughs in a farmyard when barley is scattering, out came the children running. All the little boys and girls with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping ran merrily after the wonderful music with shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb, and the council stood as if they were changed into blocks of wood, unable to move a step, or cry to the children merrily skipping by, and could only follow with the eye that joyous crowd at the piper's back. But how the mayor was on the rack and the wretched council's bosoms beat as the piper turned from the high street to where the Weser rolled its waters right in the way of their sons and daughters. However, he turned from south to west and to Cocklebird Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed. Great was the joy in every breast. He never can cross that mighty top. He's forced to let the pipers drop, and we shall see our children stop. When lo, as they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed, and the piper advanced and the children followed. And when all were into the very last, the door in the mountainside shut fast. Did I say all? No. One was lame and could not dance the whole of the way. And in after years, if you would blame his sadness, he was used to say, "It's dull in our town since my playmates left. I can't forget that I am bereft of all the pleasant sights they see, which the piper also promised me. For he led us," he said, "to a joyous land joining the town and just at hand, where waters gushed and fruit trees grew, and flowers put forth a fairer hue, and everything was strange and new. The sparrows were brighter than peacocks here, and their dogs outran our fallow deer, and honeybees had lost their stings, and horses were born with eagle's wings. And just as I became assured my lame foot would be speedily cured, the music stopped, and I stood still and found myself outside the hill, left alone against my will, to go now limping as before and never hear of that country more. Alas, alas for Hamlin. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south to offer the piper by word of mouth wherever it was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if he'd only return the way he went and bring the children behind him. But then they saw it was a lost endeavor, and piper and dancers were gone forever. They wrote the story on a column, and on a great church window painted the same, to make the world acquainted how their children were stolen away. And there it stands to this very day. And I must not omit to say that in Transylvania, there's a tribe of alien people that ascribe the outlandish ways and dress, on which their neighbors lay such stress, to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterraneous prison, into which they were trepanned long time ago in a mighty band out of Hamlin town in Brunswick land. But how or why, they don't understand. So, Willie, let you and me be wipers of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And whether they pipe us free from rats or from mice, If we've promised them aught, let us keep our promise.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening to that version of Pied Piper of Hamlin. The record is the record. Both discs look really nice, but they don't have the best sound. But I think that you can hear and enjoy the story. Now, I'm accused of being a sort of a Pied Piper, but of a different kind. Not one that takes and has rats come after him by playing a fife, but the neighbors around here think of me as a Pied Piper for cats. Because since I started feeding the 10, 15, 20 cats that are feral in the neighborhood, they become quite tame with me, most of them. They follow me around. Sometimes I'll be walking back from the store and there's an entourage following behind me. Cats are amazing. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. God bless you. Love y'all. And I'll see you again real soon.